Welcome to English Speeches Podcast. We're doing something a little different today, using a speech by Indira Gandhi, India's first female prime minister, to help you guys, step up your English game.
Yeah, we'll break down some of the tougher vocab and grammar from her 1983 interview so you can, really own those everyday conversations.
Cool. So right away, Gandhi uses the word disarmament. Sounds kind of intense, right? What's that all about?
It does have a serious ring to it. Basically, disarmament means cutting back on weapons or even ditching them entirely, especially the really powerful ones. Think of it like two countries, they're beefing, but then decide to make peace and trash all their nukes. That's disarmament in action.
So like those action movie scenes, trying to stop a war from blowing up.
Totally. Gandhi actually said, at the non-alignment conference, this was one of our major objectives, that we should first have nuclear disarmament.
So she's talking about global teamwork to cut back on nukes.
You nailed it. And if you wanted to use nuclear disarmament in a sentence, you could say, many people believe nuclear disarmament is the key to a safer world.
Nice example. Pretty cool how a word that sounds so, official can be broken down and used casually.
Absolutely. And that's the cool thing about expanding your vocabulary. Okay, another word Gandhi uses is intervention. Kind of a mouthful. I want to break it down.
Yeah, sure. Intervention. It's kind of like intervene, right?
You're picking up on the patterns. Intervention basically means jumping into a situation, often to shake things up. Think of it like, say, a referee jumping in during a game to make a call.
Gotcha. So with Gandhi's speech, intervention could be one country getting all up in another country's business, right?
Right on. And Gandhi's really talking about non-intervention, which means countries respecting each other's space, no meddling allowed.
Respecting boundaries, but on a global scale.
Precisely. And you could use non-intervention like this. The group of nations, they were all about a policy of non-intervention in, regional conflicts.
Wow. Now that sounds official. Okay, this is good stuff.
We're just getting warmed up. Let's switch gears from vocabulary to, grammar. Gandhi, she uses a lot of complex sentences, which can seem, intimidating maybe, but they're not so bad once you, break them down.
Oh, grammar. Okay, hit me. What makes a sentence complex anyway?
Good question. A complex sentence, it's got one main clause, which is the main idea, and at least one subordinate clause that's the sidekick, adding extra info. It's like building a house, the main clause is the foundation, right? And there's subordinate clauses, they're adding on extra rooms.
Okay, I think I'm following. Can you give me an example from the speech?
For sure. Gandhi says, if public opinion grows, that does have some effect. Can you, spot the main and subordinate clauses in that?
Let me see. The main idea is about public opinion doing something, so that does have some effect. That's got to be the main clause.
You got it. And if public opinion grows is the subordinate clause, because it needs the main clause to, really make sense.
That's actually not as hard as I thought it'd be.
Yeah. And see that little word if at the start of that subordinate clause? That's a conjunction, kind of like a, linking word that ties those two parts of the sentence together.
Conjunctions, it takes me back to, middle school English. But yeah, I get it now.
Right. And once you get how those complex sentences work, you can start using them yourself. It's like leveling up your English.
Love it. Okay, back to vocabulary. Gandhi mentions resilience a few times. I gotta admit, I don't always, nail that one.
Resilience, that's a good one. It's all about bouncing back from, tough times. Imagine a plant that's been totally trampled, but it still finds a way to, grow back even stronger. That's resilience.
Ooh, I like that. So someone who's resilient is they can handle anything and come out on top.
You got it. Gandhi, she's talking about the resilience of the Indian people, their ability to, face challenges head on and still thrive.
Powerful stuff. So to use resilience in a sentence, could I say something like, man, your resilience is inspiring you, totally crushed that difficult situation?
Bingo. You aced it. Okay, let's jump to another word Gandhi uses. Dialogue.
Dialogue. I hear that one all the time, but what's it really mean in this, in this setting?
Dialogue, it's more than just shooting the breeze. It's about having a conversation that actually means something, especially when people have, different points of view. And two friends, they're disagreeing, maybe even arguing, but they're still listening to each other, trying to get where the other person's coming from. That's dialogue.
Ah, so it's like a respectful back and forth, even when you don't see eye to eye.
Exactly. Gandhi, she was a big believer in using dialogue to, work through conflict peacefully.
Makes sense, especially with her focus on things like disarmament and non-intervention.
For sure. And to use dialogue in a sentence, you could say, the two countries, they decided to open up a dialogue to, try to mend fences.
Open a dialogue, like that, jotting that down. Oh, quick question. How do you pronounce dialogue? That U at the end always messes me up.
You and everyone else, it's a toughie. It's pronounced dialogue, not dialogo.
Dialogue. Got it. Okay, ready for more grammar. You mentioned something about Gandhi using conditionals.
You bet. Conditionals, the names sound scary, but they're just sentences that talk about an if-then situation.
Okay, I think I remember those in school. What's an example?
Totally. Remember that sentence we looked at earlier? If public opinion grows, that does have some effect.
Right. The one about public opinion actually, making a difference.
That's it. That's like textbook conditional sentence. The if part sets up the condition, like what needs to happen, and the then part, even though it doesn't actually say then, it's like the result, the outcome.
So it's like cause and effect, but in grammar form.
Nailed it. It's a really common way to talk about possibilities, like if this happens, then that might happen. It's all about those what ifs.
That's actually pretty cool. Never thought I'd be geeking out about grammar. Okay, what else did Gandhi have to say? Give me more. Any other gems from Gandhi?
Well, she uses the word legacy, which is pretty fitting, given her impact.
Legacy. That word always makes me think of royalty or, those big historical figures. What's a simple way to wrap my head around it?
Think of it like the marks someone leaves on the world, right? The stuff they're remembered for. Could be a tradition they started, the values they fought for, even a building named after them. It's like imagine planting a tree and it grows for years, gives shade to people, That tree's part of your legacy.
That's a nice way to put it. So Gandhi's legacy is all about what she did for India and the world.
You got it. Her leadership, her ideas, even speeches like this one, they all feed into that legacy.
Wow, that makes this whole thing even more, I don't know, interesting. So to use legacy in a sentence, could I say, my grandpa, he left a legacy of kindness and being generous.
Perfect example. You nailed it.
Man, this is awesome. I feel like I'm learning so much, not just about English, but about history, leadership, all that.
Right. Language can open up so many doors. And remember, this is just a taste of, Indira Gandhi and how she used her words to make a difference.
Totally. So for our listeners who want to experience the full speech and keep leveling up their English, where should they go?
Head over to EnglishSpeechesChannel.com. They've got transcripts, audio, tons of resources for, every level of English learner.
I'm checking it out for sure.
Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome, inspiring, and educational all at once. Any last bits of wisdom before we wrap up?
Just this. Keep practicing your English every chance you get. The more you listen, read, talk, the more confident you'll sound.
Great advice. Until next time, everyone, keep learning.